What if the reason you were exhausted at the end of the day has nothing to do with how much you did? We have built an entire culture around the idea that more hours equals more output, that fatigue is the price of ambition, that running on empty is somehow a mark of dedication. I want to challenge that belief completely today because it is costing you far more than you realize. This is something I have explored deeply across both of my books, Project You and Think Yourself Thin. Two different conversations, but one unified truth. When you are whole and complete within yourself, when your biology, your mindset, and your daily practices are working in harmony, extraordinary output becomes not something you force. It becomes something you radiate. Today, I want to show you exactly how that works. Let us start where most people never think to start, with sleep. Not the idea of sleep, but the biology of it. In Project You, I speak about sleep as one of the 6 foundational pillars of whole health. Not a luxury, not a reward for a hard day's work, but a non-negotiable biological requirement for sustained performance. During deep delta sleep, your body releases growth hormone, repairs cellular damage, consolidates the learning of the day, and processes the emotional residue that accumulates from hours of high-demand thinking. This is not passive rest. This is active restoration. When you chronically shortchange this process, when you glorify late nights and early alarms as signs of commitment, you are not building towards success. You are quietly dismantling the very neurological architecture that makes it possible. The quality of your waking hours is determined entirely by the quality of your sleeping ones. From the moment you wake, the way you move your body sets the chemistry of your entire day. Movement is not exercise in the traditional sense. It is cellular stimulation, a biological signal that tells every system in your body to come alive. We are not designed for stillness. We are designed for movement. The brain responds to physical activity with a cascade of neurochemical events that sharpen focus, elevate mood, and stimulate neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells. You do not need a gym session to access this. A 5-minute walk between tasks, a stretch at your desk, a brief burst of movement before a critical meeting. These are not interruptions to your productivity. They are the fuel that makes it possible. The body and the brain are not separate systems. When one moves, the other awakens. And what you feed that body matters enormously. Food is not a diet, but a nutritional framework. Choosing foods that carry more life force than your body, rather than processed foods that sit on shelves for months and deliver nothing but a temporary spike, followed by a crash. When you eat with awareness and intention, choosing fresh, nutrient-dense fuel consistently, your energy becomes steady and sustained, rather than volatile and reactive. Pair that with deliberate hydration throughout the day, and you have addressed 2 of the most common and most overlooked causes of afternoon fatigue. What most people experience as a mid-afternoon energy slump is frequently not exhaustion at all. It is dehydration and blood sugar instability presenting themselves in disguise. Woven through all of this is the practice of breath. 3 slow, deliberate, diaphragmatic breaths interrupt the stress cycle completely. The nervous system shifts. The mind clears. The body moves from a state of threat into a state of readiness. This is not a wellness concept. This is neuroscience. And it is available to you in any moment at absolutely no cost. The most significant drain on your energy is not physical at all. It is the language you use with yourself. Self-talk is not background noise. It builds who you are. These repeated phrases carve pathways in the brain, turning into beliefs, and beliefs shape how your body responds to every situation you face. When you say, "I am exhausted," you are not simply describing a state. You're issuing a chemical instruction to your nervous system, and your body responds with absolute precision. The moment you shift that language from "I am exhausted" to "I am taking a moment to recharge," you change the signal entirely. The body follows the instruction. That is not positive thinking. That is applied neuroscience. The words you speak most consistently become the reality you inhabit. The emotional state you bring to your work matters just as much. Emotions are energy in motion. Working from a place of fear, guilt, or resentment is like driving with the handbrake on. You are expending enormous energy and generating very little forward movement. Working from curiosity, purpose, or genuine engagement is a fundamentally different biological experience. The brain releases dopamine not only when you reach a goal, but while you are moving towards something that feels meaningful. Checking in with your emotional state before you begin a task, asking yourself honestly, what am I bringing to this? And consciously choosing a more supportive state is one of the most sophisticated performance tools available. It is also one of the most underused. Underneath all of this lies neuroplasticity. Your brain changes based on what you repeat. Tiny habits, standing during phone calls, drinking a glass of water every hour, taking 3 deep breaths before opening your email, are the building blocks of a brain that expects and supports high performance. You become what you do most consistently. Sustaining all of it, the sleep, the movement, the nutrition, the breath, the language, the emotional intelligence, the habits, requires a connection to purpose. When your actions are aligned with your why, your energy sharpens. You stop scattering yourself and become present with clarity. Fatigue, in this context, is often not a physical phenomenon at all. It is the exhaustion of doing work that feels disconnected from meaning. When you reconnect even the most ordinary task to a higher purpose, drive replaces depletion. Presence replaces performance. And the most underestimated skill in the pursuit of sustainable high output is the willingness to adapt. Notice when your focus is sharpest and protect that time for your most demanding work. Notice when your energy naturally dips and use those windows for lighter tasks and recovery. Self-management over time management. Because when you manage yourself, your energy, your state, your biology, time becomes your ally rather than your adversary. Getting more done without feeling tired is not about finding a better productivity hack. It is about building a life that works with your biology rather than against it. And it is available to you, starting with your very next choice. This is Michael Abdallah.